Hopefully you're watching this video in 2027 and this is gone. This ride invented the headache. I expect so much better. What's up? We're back at Universal Studios to talk about our least favorite attractions here at Universal. We're gonna maybe be a little bit more efficient today, but here's the deal, right? 6 of my least favorite attractions. Gamble sent me his list and it's 5. Here's what I haven't told Gamble yet is his list stunk, okay? 1 is an acceptable bad attraction. 2, if he puts up a good argument, I'll allow him to be on the list. And 2 of them shouldn't be on the list. So you and me, I'm gonna give you the list of the 6 actually bad attractions here at Universal. And Gamble's gonna have to plead his argument for each and every one. I'm not gonna tell him which one's which. He's gonna have to make his argument. And you tell me in the comments if they're acceptable, and I'll tell you whether or not I think it is as well. It's gonna be a, hey, here's the worst attractions at Universal. Also, Gamble, can you make an argument for your list? Because I think he's just baiting us. I think he's just trolling. But we'll see. We're gonna get inside. It's kinda cold. I'm comfortable in a hoodie and a Birds jersey, about to beat the Packers. Actually, by the time this airs, you'll know if we beat the Packers or not. So we'll see. Might have to edit that one out. But Gamble's in a hoodie, so that's how you know it's at least reasonably cold. He is in shorts, though. Confident? You confident that you can argue? That you think that? I also forgot sunglasses, by the way. Rookie mistake. The sun needs to go down. You confident in your ability to
argue?
Yeah.
To leave it at argue, yes.
I'm confident in your ability to argue. Whether or not you'll win the argument, you confident in that?
That's up to them.
It's up to me. It's my video,
okay.
dude. See if he makes the argument. I'll tell you which one's which, but we're gonna start at my number 6. All right, coming at my number 6 is Reign of Kong. Listen, probably see on this list from both of us in the future. Kong comes in at my number 6. Why is this our Kong ride, okay? What you'll probably see later on this list from both of us is Fast and the Furious. And it's the same thing except Kong theme. The one good thing this has over Fast and the Furious is the big animatronic at the end, which is really cool. But for a King Kong ride, I expect so much better. Again, just another screen ride. They didn't have the outside portion open for over like a year. They finally fixed that. But certain effects are kind of always down. It's just kind of, like for a King Kong ride, I expect greatness. And also, this is another one that can sneakily get a high wait time. The other day was 80 minutes and Velocicoaster was 90. I couldn't imagine waiting 80 minutes for this. Because of all things considered, the hype around Kong, the length they sometimes get, and the overall execution of the ride, to me, it just goes at number 6. It's one of my least favorite. Gamble, do you have any thoughts on that? You don't even have a number 6 because I told you we were doing 5 and I added 6.
So I will say about the Kong ride, I do agree. I've only ever done this once, and it was with you. The animatronic at the end saves the ride from being on my list. Spoiler alert, it's not on my list. But I found out later on that they used to have scare actors in the queue, and they just never brought it back after COVID. We understand things had to change, but I thought they were announcing a downtime like normal, but they're not. So it's just one of the rides that never really recovered after COVID. We understand why, but there's a lot of missed opportunities in this, and for a Kong attraction, there's so much more they can do, and I hope later on they do bring that back and give us something better, because King Kong is one of the greatest monsters out there.
That is true, by the way. They used to have scare actors in the queue. I remember because they scared me. I remember I was walking through and somebody was peeking their head out. I was like, wow, that animatronic is great for a queue line. Like, that's really impressive. And then they jumped out scared. It was really cool at the time. I wish they still did it, but hopefully something they bring back or use in future attractions. Made it to my number 5. Con Minion Blast. Not to be confused with the other Minion ride, we're talking about Minion Blast behind me. Minion Blast, one of their newer attractions. Listen, I respected the idea of making an attraction that almost anybody can do because it's just a platform that moves you along and it's like a shoot 'em game. It's supposed to be a lot of fun. They just missed the part where it's fun. At least Men in Black, you know, in the back of the park, you're supposed to shoot the aliens. I don't really know where you're supposed to shoot here. And to me, that's a failure because it should be 100% obvious. You just kind of shoot at everything. I don't get the point system. It just could have been so much better. Like I said, it does feel like a thing they put little effort into. It's just the worst shoot 'em ride in the park. I just expected Minions, Villain Con, Minion Blast. I expected a better shooter out of it. I just can't. If you've been on it, you understand what I'm saying. It is quite literally just a platform where you stand in a circle and you just move at screens. They didn't really help themselves in the whole no screen ride at Universal department. It's not, again, it's not an awful throwaway. Everybody can go on it. Maybe you'll have some fun. I'm sure the kids have fun. I just, could have been so much better. Number 5, moving on to Gamble's number 5. Let's see what it is. Number 5, Gamble, take it away.
All right, so my number 5 is Rip Ride Rocket. Universal has so many great coasters and dark ride coasters, but Rip Ride Rocket is just, it's needed updates, it's needed new music, it's needed a lot of love and attention. It never really got it, especially in the last 5 years. So it's gotta be number 5 on my list, Rip Ride Rocket.
I disagree. I think there's worse rides that should be on there. It's going away anyway, so, you know, it's definitely a rough coaster. Feel its age. 5th worst at Universal? No, this was one I was gonna say if he could make a logical argument, I was gonna hear him out because it can be painful to ride. I didn't like your argument enough. I don't think it passes. I give it a, you let me know in the comments. He's 0 for 1. 0 for 1 on my scale. You let me know in the comments if that's respectable. If you think Rip Ride should be 5th worst, I disagree. I don't think you should listen to him, especially because it's closing. You should at least try it once. Okay. That's all I gotta say. Take that, buddy. Okay, on to my number 4. Coming in at my number 4 is Storm Force Acceleration. I've told you guys before, I hate the teacups. I'll fully admit I can't handle this one. It's a very spinny ride. I'm always stuck with a psycho who spins it like crazy. So that's number 1. That's number 1 for me. Number 2, it's an off-the-shelf ride. You can do this at a carnival. They just kind of threw it here. We talked about in the last video the best attractions, the can't miss ones. Marvel-land has 4 rides. That's crazy. But obviously that means one of them stinks. I mean, like I said, it's an off-the-shelf, it's just kind of thrown there. They're trying to give people something else to do. The atmosphere of it, they try to make it a little more than it is, but really it just doesn't deliver. So to me, it's an easy number 4. You can easily skip this. It's not really a memorable attraction, and like I said, it makes me sick. I think it probably makes a lot of people who get motion sickness sick too. So it's number 4. The one thing I will say, the line's never usually too long, but if you only have a few things, you only have a select amount of time, don't waste your time with this. It's number 4 for me. All right, Gamble, your 4th worst, Transformers. Speak for yourself.
So Transformers is the 4th worst. You have Superman right next door. Just a long.
Blooper reel, Patreon.
So Transformers is number 4 on my list. It is currently a 40-minute wait time. That is insane to me. The only time I've ever done Transformers is during Horror Nights when it was a 5-minute wait time. We walked right on. It's doable at 5 minutes, 15 minutes. 40 minutes for that kind of ride? Not worth it. Spider-Man, next door, far superior. Luckily, they don't really make bad rides. Universal's pretty good with this. It's one of the original screens that they just redid after, what was it, Twister? I don't know.
Jimmy Fallon.
It was?
Yeah.
I don't even know how to carry off after that. So, is there a better version of this? Yes, absolutely. Am I going to wait 40 minutes for it? Absolutely not. It's just not that fun to me. I'm not a Transformers guy. Spider-Man, so much better. That's why it knocked this down on the worst list.
Disagree. Here's my thing. I think Spider-Man, better ride than Transformers. And if you like Spider-Man, then better than Transformers, of course. At the end of the day, though, they're very similar in rides. So there's not enough in here, in my opinion, where you can go, this is now a bad ride, but Spider-Man is good. It's the same rides, same ride vehicle, same ride system, screens. It's just themed to Transformers. I think this is a very fun ride. It's actually grown on me a lot. It's easy as that. Is that Transformers, good ride. I wouldn't put it on my top 5, but I'm not putting it on my bottom 5. I think there's plenty of worse things here. Again, I don't think Gamble made a good argument as to why. He didn't even know what ride he's talking about. He's talking about Superman. Gamble, 0 for 2 in his arguments of worst rides. I recommend it if you guys come here. This does get kind of a bigger line here because I don't think the Universal rides as a whole are very strong, because on my list there's worse. Definitely, I think, worth doing, especially if you enjoy the Spider-Man one. It's so similar. I think you'll enjoy this too. I recommend checking this one out. As long as, like I said, I think 40 minutes, like if you only come once in a while, 40 minutes is fine. Gamble and I agreed a lot on the beginning on the best list. So far, not seeing eye to eye on the worst list at all. Number 3 on my list is right behind me, the Twirl and Hurl. First of all, any ride that's called Twirl and Hurl, come on. Is that a surprise? The first of 2 Simpsons rides on my list. I really am not a fan of Simpsons Land, which is crazy, because I like The Simpsons. I used to watch the Simpsons movie all the time, Treehouse of Horrors. I used to watch like episodes, everything. I like The Simpsons. Their ride stinks. Their food is okay. Not a fan in Universal or Disney theme parks of rides that you could do at like a carnival, which Twirl and Hurl is. 2, I don't feel like The Simpsons is very kid-based, so I'm surprised they have like a kid ride here. I just think it's like a throw in there. It has a 25-minute wait because the boarding process, you can only load so much. It's just, it's just a whatever. It's an off-the-shelf ride thrown in here to give kids something else to do. So for that reason, I like rides that at least try, right? This ride didn't really try. So that's why it's at my number 3. Gamble's never done it, so he can't really comment on it. So maybe that's why it's not on his list. But Twirl and Hurl should give you enough to know, a ride you can definitely skip at Universal. Gamble, outside your number 3. Explain yourself.
Start this, that doesn't come off as real bad.
Go ahead.
So number 3, High in the Sky, Sue's Trolley Train Ride. I don't get it. It's not that great of an attraction. You have Cat in the Hat right there. You've got other little kid-oriented attractions. Oh, cool. It's a little train that goes over rooftops. Great thinking, guys. You're right up there with the Fast and Furious for me. But there's something worse than this. This is just not for me. It's easily on that bottom 5 list. No.
Can I ask you a question?
Go.
You like the People Mover?
Yes.
Would you say People Mover is top 5 at Disney?
It's better themed than this. You have to go outside and go
What is the differences that makes the People Mover good and this bad?
People Mover, I don't need to...
Please, I'm waiting.
People Mover, I don't need to jump down into the seat that's meant for a toddler. I'm not a toddler. So this isn't a good attraction.
Can you fit in the ride?
Yes.
So what are you worried about not being for you for?
I'm old, my back hurts.
As you can see, I do not agree with Gamble. 0 for 3. I think this is a fun ride. Look at that, kids having a good time. Why do you hate children? The one thing I will say about this is I wish it was a little longer. When it comes to the People Mover, what Gamble could have said is the People Mover is pretty long. This is kind of short, and there's 2 different tracks. The one that goes to Circus McGurkus, I think, is better than the other one. But still, I think you get a great view of Islands of Adventure. It's very cool. Typically, you're not waiting too long. Right now, the wait time is 20 minutes, and that's probably just because they're running like 1 train. I think it's fine. Like I said, it's in Seuss Land, which is a dedicated land for more kids to have a good time in. I think it's a well-themed land. I have 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish. God, that's a nightmare to say. The reason that's not on my least favorite is because it's in a kid's land. It's definitely not designed for me. Why I put Twirl and Hurl on the list is because it's in Simpsons Land, which has Duff Bar and all those things. It's more geared towards adults. I don't think a ton of kids are watching Simpsons. So to me, it just feels, that seems like just dropped in. Here, we're just gonna give you something that's misplaced. Wow, 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish, I think fits in to Seuss Land. And again, I disagree with Gamble. Let me know in the comments, has Gamble gotten any right yet? But I think, again, it's his list, so he's allowed to say it. But what I say is I recommend doing it. If the line's short, you get a cool view. It's a nice quick break from your day. I think it's a solid attraction. That he's right is definitely meant more for families than it is for 2 dudes in their 20s and 30s. For sure, Gamble's right about that. But I think it's an underrated attraction, and I don't think it can be on anybody. I don't think it should be on anybody's least favorite list. Number 2 on my list is right behind me, the Simpsons Ride. I hate this ride, okay? Some people are gonna call me weak, I don't care. I think it should be sponsored by Dramamine, sponsored by Tylenol. This ride invented the headache. It is a guaranteed headache. I can handle a lot. I can ride Mission Space, I can ride a lot of the screen rides here, I can ride Hulk, doesn't give me issues. There's 2 rides that give me issues, and I'm man enough to admit it. It's the teacups and anything like that, and the Simpsons Ride. The Simpsons Ride is brutal. I remember I rode this for the first time, and I got off and I said, I will never do that ride again. I feel sick, I have to take a break. So at least with Twirl and Hurl over here, I don't need to take a break for the rest of the day. This made me do that. Maybe eventually I need to do it again. Still have not found the interest to do it because I don't want to sacrifice my whole day. The screen, everything about it just felt outdated. The screen was bad. I think Simpsons Land as a whole will be gone soon whenever that contract is up, but man, this ride is just brutal. It's a headache. It's one of my least favorite. If you can really handle everything, you might enjoy it. And if you're a diehard Simpsons fan, I guess go for it. But outside of that, if you're really not interested in The Simpsons, this is the type of ride that can really make you feel a little sick for the whole day. It has that type of potential. It's one of my least favorites. It's one I can't recommend. Gamble apparently has never done it before. Is that correct, Gamble?
That's correct. I've never done the Simpsons ride. Big Simpsons fan. I'm watching every episode in order, and I've been told by many people not to get on this ride.
You know you're gonna have to do it then, right? At one point.
Yeah.
We can plan that.
Patreon.
That's the only acceptable reason I can have that it's not on Gamble's list. Is that he hasn't done Twirl and Hurl or the Simpsons ride. Big Simpsons fan, never did any of the rides, kind of crazy. Go Birds. Either way, sorry, I just noticed the jersey. Beautiful view from Simpsons Land. Of all the other places you should go to besides it. Gamble, you're number 2.
So Jimmy Fallon's is number 2 on my list. When it comes to simulator rides and attractions at Universal, there's so many better options. It's not terrible, but I'm gonna skip it. Jimmy Fallon's just falls flat, and I just personally don't like Jimmy Fallon's characters. It's so annoying. That's why it's on my list. Would I wait 45 minutes? Absolutely not. I've only ever done it once since Excited Express. That's why it's on my list.
I don't agree. I don't agree at all. That's another one I don't agree with. I said if he could plead his case, I would. I didn't like the explanation either. You know, it's funny. If you go back, I think Gamble was recorded watching Jimmy, riding Jimmy Fallon for the first time. And I think you said it wasn't that bad.
I did say it wasn't that
So
bad.
what changed? No, don't even hold the mic.
What changed was I did it again, and I realized it's that first time attraction high you get.
Oh,
It's
you
like,
just said you only did it once.
okay.
We caught this guy. I think he's trolling. Listen, it's not that great of an attraction, and I agree. I'm not a big fan of Jimmy Fallon. I think there's better things we could do here. I think it should be replaced. Is it the second worst at Universal? I don't think so. I think Gamble, I think he's 0 for 4. I think it was that strong an argument. You tell me, though. Is it the second worst attraction at Universal? Coming in at my number 1 worst attraction is no surprise to anybody who's ever been to Universal Studios. It's the Fast and the Furious ride. It is, I think, all things considered, the worst attraction I've ever done at any theme park. It's like not even close because of a couple of things. Ride stinks. The ride stinks. But 2, the hype around the ride. You're talking about Fast and the Furious. You would expect a Fast and the Furious like ride. You would expect racing in cars. You would expect something. You would expect something. What you get is a party bus screen ride that is just so bad. I just, there's not much you can say about this. The only good thing I think that comes from this ride is the team members in the pre-shows. There's like multiple pre-shows. They're usually pretty funny because they don't even care because they know the ride stinks. Like Universal knows the ride stinks. There's a sign over there that says it's closing at 6 p.m. The park closes at 8. It's closing 2 hours before the park closes. It's never gonna have a long line. It stinks, it's awful. They close it during Horror Nights. They want nothing to do with it. They make a Horror Nights house here just so they can keep it closed. I think this will be a casualty once Rip Ride closes. I think my prediction is the Rip Ride roller coaster becomes a Fast and the Furious roller coaster and that they close this and make it something else. It is awful, it stinks, one of the worst attractions of all time, all things considered. And I have a sneaky feeling this is the one thing Gamble got right. Gamble, is this your least favorite attraction?
It is. So I did pull up the wait time while he was giving his review. It is currently at 10 minutes. It closed at 6 p.m. I've only ever done this ride once. I didn't even want to do that then. It's because all my friends were going on it. So I was like, all right, I don't want to separate from the group. I'll just get on and ride it. The pre-show with the 2 team members, that is hysterical. That was honestly the highlight of anything to do with walking through the front door of this attraction. I am glad it's closing. I don't understand how people can like this attraction. I really hope Rip Ride becomes a Fast and Furious coaster, something to do with cars. Because I've worked on cars. I'm a former mechanic. I don't know how you make a party bus cool and relevant. Like, I just don't. So this, yeah, we do have to agree on this. Besides, when we walk in here, we have to get pretzels. That's about it today.
Good job on getting something right, buddy. I don't think anybody in the comment section will argue with Gamble on that. I think Gamble, that's one that we're all gonna agree.
It's an easy grab.
It is disgusting. Hopefully you're watching this video in 2027 and this is gone. And just like that, that wraps up this week's video from JVTV. Some of my least favorite attractions at Universal. Listen, I love Universal. This is not a diss at them, but every theme park ever has some not great attractions, and these are just some of mine. If you have a different opinion, feel free to let me know in the comments. You should have a different opinion from Gamble. Gamble, you have any final words that you want to say for yourself, buddy?
Well, are you done?
Gross, you just got your germs all over my mic.
So yes, it is true. There are a few things I haven't done that should be on the list, but because I haven't done them, I guess we're gonna have to film another one of me doing those rides.
Before we filmed this outro, we did go on Velocicoaster, and we decided that the next Universal vlog with Gamble will be everything he hasn't done. So we're gonna dedicate a day.
Simpsons is last.
Simpsons will be last, so we'll have to time the day well. We'll have Dramamine on deck for that one. But I haven't done that in forever, so you'll get my reaction to that too to see if it still sucks. Because maybe I'm wrong. Listen, I'm not wrong often, but when I am, I admit it. What do you get? Name one thing. Gamble just gave me a look. Name one thing that I've been wrong I didn't admit. Thank you. That silence will let you know. That silence will let you know. Either way, happy Thursday. Hopefully, we're saying go Birds much longer, and I will see you on Sunday.